The first time Ella stepped onto the dusty grounds of Willow Creek Ranch, she wasn't looking for miracles, just a fresh start. Her boots crunched over dry gravel, the Montana sun kissing her shoulders as she watched a commotion unfold in the distance. A jet-black stallion, sleek as midnight and twice as furious, reared inside the corral. 3 wranglers shouted and ducked under the fence. One landed hard in the dirt, cursing as the beast thundered past. "That's Diablo," someone muttered nearby. Ella turned to find an old ranch hand shaking his head. "No one's ever stayed on him more than 5 seconds." Ella's fingers gripped the fence. There was something in that horse's eyes, more than rage. Hurt. Fear. A wild spirit no one had cared to understand. She knew that look all too well. A week earlier, Ella had driven across 3 states with everything she owned packed into a rusting pickup. After losing her mother and a fiancé who didn't know how to love someone drowning in grief, she was running from the ache in her chest, hoping the wide-open sky might show her how to breathe again. "New girl," a deep voice called behind her. She turned to see him, tall, broad-shouldered, dust-covered, with a cowboy hat shadowing sharp blue eyes. He had that weathered handsomeness of someone who'd seen too much but kept walking anyway. "Ella," she offered, brushing dust from her jeans. "Luke," he replied. "You here for the summer job?" She nodded. "Then stay clear of Diablo. He's dangerous." She looked back at the horse. "He's not dangerous. He's misunderstood." Luke chuckled dryly. "You one of those horse whisperers or something?" "No," she said quietly. "But I've been where he is." For the next few days, Ella kept to her tasks, feeding, mucking, repairing fences, but her eyes always wandered back to Diablo's pen. No one tried to ride him anymore. They just let him pace, sweat, and storm. On the 4th morning, before sunrise, she climbed into the corral. She didn't bring a bridle. Or rope. Just an apple and her presence. Diablo stilled when he saw her, nostrils flaring. She moved slow, talking gently, her voice steady despite the flutter in her chest. "I'm not here to break you," she whispered. "I just want to know you." It took an hour before he took the apple from her open palm. She left after that. The next morning, she came again. And again. And again. Each time, she came a little closer. Until finally, after a week, she pressed her hand to his glossy neck. Word spread fast. Wranglers watched in disbelief as the wild stallion let the stranger braid his mane, rest her head against his shoulder, even walk him around the corral. Luke watched too, his arms crossed, eyes unreadable. "You're risking your life," he said one evening. Ella looked up from brushing Diablo's coat. "I think he's saving mine." Luke was silent for a moment. Then he said, "You know. I raised that horse." She turned. "He was gentle, once. A foal I bottle-fed. But after the accident, something broke. Just like that." Ella waited. "My brother," Luke said, his voice low. "He was riding Diablo when they fell. Broke his neck. Died instantly. Diablo's never been the same since. Neither have I." Ella walked to him, slowly. "You blame him?" He nodded. "At first. Then myself. Then no one. I just shut down." Her eyes softened. "You and Diablo, 2 wild things, running from pain." Luke studied her for a long time, as if seeing her for the first time. The next morning, with the whole ranch gathered at the fence, Ella mounted Diablo. There was no bucking, no fury. Just a calm trust, forged in silence and patience. She rode him gently around the corral, tears stinging her eyes. When she dismounted, Diablo nuzzled her shoulder. Applause broke out. Someone whistled. Luke didn't clap. He just walked up, quiet and slow, stopping inches from her. You did it, he said, voice low. No, she said. We did it. And then, with a half-smile that didn't reach his eyes yet, he said softly, stay, if you can tame me too. Ella froze, heart caught in her throat. But she didn't answer right away. Because taming wasn't about control. It was about trust. Healing. Showing up, even when it hurt. So she stayed. Over the next weeks, Ella and Luke talked. Walked. Sat under stars and swapped broken pieces of their stories. She didn't try to fix him. He didn't try to save her. They just listened. One evening, as a summer storm rolled in, they stood watching Diablo run in the rain, free, powerful, no longer angry. I think we all have something wild in us, Ella said. It's not something to fear. It's something to understand. Luke looked at her, rain dripping from the brim of his hat. I don't think I need taming, he said with a crooked grin. Just someone to ride the storms with me. She smiled, her chest full for the first time in years. Then you're in luck. I've never been afraid of storms. That night, under a sky rumbling with thunder and hope, he kissed her, soft and slow, like a man learning how to feel again. And in that quiet moment, two broken hearts began to heal, not because someone fixed them, but because someone finally saw them. Ella didn't come to Willow Creek Ranch looking for love. She came to escape. But what she found was a stallion no one believed in, a cowboy with walls built from grief, and a place where her heart could breathe again. She stayed. Not because she tamed the wild. But because the wild finally trusted her enough, to be free. The end. Beautiful lesson of the story. The story teaches us that true healing doesn't come from force or fixing others, it comes from compassion, patience, and being willing to show up with an open heart. Whether it's a wild horse, a broken soul, or a grieving heart, everything that seems untamable is often just deeply wounded. With kindness, understanding, and time, even the most guarded spirits can learn to trust again. It reminds us that love isn't about changing someone, it's about walking beside them, through storms and silence, until they feel safe enough to be seen. Sometimes, the greatest strength is found in gentleness. And sometimes, the most powerful bond is born not from control, but from connection.